All right. Well, today I'm here with Jeff Crabiel. He's the area general manager in Nashville. He's got two properties, the Westin and the Bobby Hotel. So, Jeff, how you doing today?
Good morning. Doing very, very well on a snowy day here in Nashville. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. I am shocked that you have more snow there in Nashville than I do here in Ohio. So I'm going to knock on wood and hope it stays that way.
Yeah, I'm trying to send it to you as fast as I can. So,
well, Jeff, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got there, and then just a little bit about your properties.
yeah, sure. So, first of all, thank you for the introduction today. I appreciate being here and your time. So I'm the area general manager of the Westin Nashville and the Bobby Hotel here located in Nashville, Tennessee. My career path started out in Southwest Michigan in a little town called Kalamazoo, and I fell into the industry as most did. I quickly moved myself down to Orlando to kind of the mecca of hospitality to learn what it was like to work in big resorts and learn what it was like to run full service properties. A couple years after that, I moved my way up to Nashville for family reasons and started here 9 years ago. And it's just been an amazing ride since then. I mean, Nashville 9 years ago is not the Nashville you see on TV today. 9 years ago, it was kind of a town in the middle of Tennessee that people were wondering what it was. And then very quickly overnight, it caught lightning in a bottle and it's exploded since. And it's been really fun to be a part of that ride. Speaking specifically to the two hotels, rather new properties, the Westin's just under 5 years old. We started out as Starwood, and then 6 months into it, the merger happened, became a Marriott property. And so we've been relatively successful with that. We're located right next to the convention center. So it's a good mix of transient guests and group guests. We're really well known for our spa and rooftop bar, L27. It's kind of the focal point when you see the property. But have an amazing team that's been there since day one. I've been there since pre-opening myself. So we have a really well put together team that have some long tenure with us. Bobby is just about 3 years old. Bobby is a luxury independent property, part of Preferred Hotels right now as it stands. And we are really known for creating an experience of mystery and one of a fun story to tell our guests. What we do at Bobby is we tell a story of a traveling nomad, of someone who settled in Nashville, and the property is set up to tell the story for us. So we have a lot of hints throughout the property that are not done intentionally. They're just there for people to become more curious and ask questions about who Bobby is or what Bobby is or how it works. And we've been really successful in that endeavor. Very proud to say, over the last couple of 6-7 months, we've been the rate leader in the city. So we've been very successful. We also are known for our hotel pup in residence. We have a dog here, Harry, that we're well known for, that greets our guests. Bobby's dog likes to walk through the lobby every so often. And then we have quite the rooftop bar here as well, that we're very proud of. So just a really exciting, two completely different properties, but I'm a very lucky person to be able to be with both of them.
Well, that's exciting. So, I mean, I know that I think everybody knows Nashville, like everywhere else, had a bit of a hiccup, as the pandemic hit. But what are things like in Nashville right now?
Yeah, I mean, Nashville's back to business. I mean, we've been busy for quite some time now. I mean, we've been very lucky in the aspect that we were probably one of the faster rebounding markets. We had our record year last year for both hotels. So we actually outpaced 2019, which was a record year in both hotels, obviously for us. So it's been wild. It's been interesting to get back to things. I mean, no one's shy of the staffing challenges that everyone's had, but we've been doing an excellent job. And now we're returning back to normalized business as it would be prior to any pandemic.
That's awesome. So, I mean, you mentioned the staffing, right? I mean, you've got one national brand, that people think about top of mind, and then you got one independent brand. So what's staffing looking like for your two properties right now?
Yeah, they're two completely different hires. At Bobby, we're looking for more of an individual artistic type role, somebody typical, very musician focused. A lot of people here have an art background or a theater background because that plays into Bobby. It is about telling a story, and so we need them to carry that out. Whereas at Westin, you have a little bit more of a corporate environment where people are career focused on becoming hospitality leaders in the future or being involved in sales in hotels of some sort. So it's been a challenge, just like anybody else. I mean, I can't lie to you and say it's been easy. But what we have been able to do successfully is really keep the people that are just genuinely good, hardworking people in our organization. And we do that through culture, and we keep them close to our hearts. They're part of our family. And what we try and do is create this culture that when someone walks in the door, they know the game plan. We don't have to lay it out for them because they see it live and in person every day. So it certainly continues to be a challenge to find the right people. But what we do have is a group of people at both hotels that are just dedicated, genuinely good people that are here to serve guests.
That's outstanding. So, I mean, obviously you're getting people through the door, and once they're there, you're starting to hold on to them. You've laid out the vision. What are the kind of things are you doing to hold on to your team right now? Because I know a lot of people are really interested in this topic.
Yeah, it's that's the number one challenge, right now is how do you retain and how do you attract? For me personally, it's about supporting what I say by action, right? It's very easy to stand in front of a room full of 300 associates and tell them that you believe in X, Y, and Z, or that we're all about the employees first, and we're all about our guests and making lifelong memories. But it's another thing to have them visually see you do it. As an area general manager, my time is very precious, and I'm very, very busy between two hotels. But I take time every day. In fact, it's even blocked in my calendar that I go and just walk around and talk to the employees and get in the back of house and get in front of guests and set the example. I'm asking people to create memories, but a lot of the people that are coming to the industry now don't even know what we're asking of them. So it really starts at the top and goes down to my leadership team of that we have to be in the face of the hotel, showing people what it means to be hospitable, showing people why we do what we do and why we're passionate about this industry. And, when you do that, it really creates a culture of people that understand that whatever the GM is asking us to do, he's willing to do it as well. So let's make him proud by doing it ourselves. And it's paid dividends beyond belief for me. And, on top of that, obviously, what's really important for us is focused on employee first culture right now. When you walk through the hotel doors, if you walk in the back house, it's plastered all over. We're an employees come first organization. We focus on the employees before we focus on anything else, because my belief is that if the employees are happy and they're successful in what they do, the rest is going to come into play. The financial numbers are going to be there. The guest scores are going to be there, but we have to focus on them first. And it's more important now than ever to really focus in on what makes them tick and what makes them happy and how we can do that.
That's outstanding. So, one of the things you mentioned is, what they're here for, right? And hospitality. So one of the things I enjoyed when you and I were talking was kind of your view on hospitality, because it seems to be, if you listen to the media and you listen to the crazy stories or watch the videos that are out there, hospitality seems to be kind of lacking right now, right? It's like around the holidays and Christmas spirit missing, right? So,
Yeah.
so when you talk about hospitality, what kind of things are you instilling in your team?
You know, um, what has happened, in my personal opinion, is the fact that we've gotten away from what makes hospitality special, and that is exactly what I was saying, which is creating lifelong memories for guests that are staying with us. They came to us for a reason. That we want them to leave with something that they will remember for the rest of their lives. What I always challenge people in orientation is I say, think back to a memory when you were a child. Maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's something else, and one day when you're really happy, what was it that made you remember that? And it's not a building, it's not a place, it's usually a person, a connection, or an experience. And so when we talk about that, what we say is, you remember that from 20 years ago. Well, every day you have the opportunity to be with that person for the next 20 years in their memory and create this lifelong thing that they're going to tell their family, they're going to tell their friends about. And what other industry can you say you can do that in? There's not a lot. And that's what makes hospitality special. You took away, for reasons, the thing that's the most important in hospitality about 2 years ago, the smile, right? When we all threw on masks, you don't understand what that's done is there's a reason that we put masks on, but it stopped the hospitality spirit of greeting people with smiles and welcoming them in the door. So we've had to get creative with that. And we've had to figure out how can we do that around those type of things, but still convey to them that we're here to serve. We're here to be hospitable in our environment. And so it's crucially important that we get back to that.
So let's talk a little bit about how you train that, right? One of the things that we discussed was that the workforce it's different than it used to be, right? In a hotel or in a lot of hospitality organizations, you had the entry level, you had the middle level, you had the mid senior, senior, and exec. I mean, you had levels and layers in big properties. What does that look like for you right now?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, what happened in hospitality is we really lost all of the middle layers you just talked about. So what has happened as I've seen it is that you have a lot of senior executive leaders that have been doing this for a long time, and it's been years and years since they've standing behind a front desk or carried a tray to a table. And then you have a whole new set of people that are entering into the hospitality market, but they don't know what they're entering into. They may have taken a job, they may have known it's a hotel, but they don't know what it's like to be hospitable, to be in the hospitality industry. And what has really changed for us is the fact that you now have senior people that are having to go back to 15, 20 years of learnings and break it down very simplistic on what does it mean to be hospitable? What does it mean to acknowledge a guest or use their name, or the very basics that we've grown accustomed to over the years of, well, they know how to do that because that's how we do things here. The people that were in the middle have left and they're not coming back. And that is a big void that I think you're seeing throughout the hospitality industry right now is you've now put people that have not trained in years, or if they have, they've led senior directors in training, to now being back onto the floor, training a new hourly associate what it's like to be in this industry. And it's very challenging. I think I told you earlier, I made my career on checking people in through the rooms department. I don't ever want to get back to that, but there comes a certain point where I have to, because I have to pass the knowledge I've learned over the last 15 years onto that entry-level manager who's stepping into the building, who's going to be training those associates as they walk in the door. Because if that person doesn't understand the fundamentals or the reason on why we do what we do, we won't be able to cascade that down. And it's a real challenge, back to basics almost, if you will. I saw a Saturday Night Live skit the other day, and that's how you know it's getting interesting, is Saturday Night Live and Billie Eilish did a skit on hospitality or lack thereof. And I laughed, but it brought me back, Chris, to thinking about, why do I do what I do, and why did I get in this industry in the first place? And being able to understand that, but being able to communicate that is crucially important. A job is a job. Being in this industry, it's not a job. It's a tough industry. It's even tougher now than it ever has been. So you have to be able to show new people entering the building why we do what we do and how rewarding that can be. So it's a lot of hands-on training. It's a lot of setting the example from the top. But it's also a lot of, get out of your office and go talk to people. It's not a time to crunch numbers behind a computer. It's time to be out and greeting people and talking to people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think, if we look at the kind of the last, decade of our industry or even longer, I mean, we've had a mentality of managing processes, because we know we all have to do that, right? You lead initiatives. And then people started tiptoeing into coaching a lot. And now what we're finding is that there's a huge focus on mentorship, right? It means I know how to physically do what you're doing. I can show you how to do it, and I can get you excited about doing it. And we're asking people who haven't cleaned a room in 15 years to be, I mean, that's what I was doing in 2020, right? I was the housekeeping trainer, right? Because there was nobody else to do it, right?
That's right. That's right.
So how are you motivating those executives? How you're motivating those managers or getting them kind of to shift their mindset to be, that mentor, that line level leader, really kind of rebuilding our industry?
That is from my role, that is probably one of the most challenging things that I've faced, because basically what you're doing is you're pivoting or you're changing someone's thought process almost overnight, 90 degrees. And, everything you've learned, and you talked about it, we've had processes in place and stuff like that, but the people left that knew what the policies were and the procedures were. So now it's like, who remembers what was what, and who's going to train the new people coming in? Listen, when I got to Nashville, one of the best things that ever happened to me is I had what I consider the world's greatest mentor, and I still do to this day. And one of the things that he taught me was how to relate to people through challenging times. And the thing that I always come back to is when I'm talking to my senior leadership team is I try and make them remember what it was like to be in that shoe, right? Remember what it was like to be the server, and you don't know what you're supposed to be explaining to this guest as you set the table. And you don't know how powerful a smile can be or anticipating a need is. All you know is you're there to serve, and someone tells you, put this on here and hand it there. What we have to do is go back in history and remember what that was like to be on that island. And we can't expect people to know what we want them to do if we don't clearly set out a path for that. So it has gotten a lot back into policies and, the old SOP trainings and stuff like that, but it's putting everything down on paper because a lot of that was lost. I mean, some of the bigger branded, we're very lucky to have branded SOPs and stuff like that, where you can just pull them up and say, okay, here's how we train. But when you talk about an independent hotel, you're running off of what you've always done, not necessarily what's done on paper. And so when I'm mentoring myself, one of the things that I always relate people to is like, remember what it was like to be in that role and what would you have expected from somebody, And if you don't have somebody there that can do it, then you're going to have to be the person to do it. And it doesn't mean that you have to clean beds for 6 months like we all did in 2020 or whatever have you, but it means you need to show them 2 or 3 times so they understand why it's important to get those corners tucked or why it's important to make sure that it's seamless when a guest walks into the room. Once you do that and relate to them on why it's important, then they understand, it's connecting with the why.
That's awesome. And I think that, as we look to build that middle again, right. That why is going to become extremely important in understanding that, hospitality, it's not a job, right? It's something you have to feel. It's something you have to be a part of. And so that why is going to be huge, especially in a high volume environment like yours, where you're running, a unique independent, you're running a lifestyle brand. I think I still have my Run Westin sweatshirt from when I was leading the morning runs. And, it's getting people excited about those kind of things. It's a challenge now. And I give you kudos for doing that.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. And it's a passion for me. I mean, this is what I love to do. This is what I believe I was always set out to do. And that's not always the case for everybody. And that's okay too. But once people get involved in the industry, if they truly have a passion for people and they truly have a passion of making a memory or making something special for people, it's going to connect with them. And what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to help them connect those dots and see how rewarding the hospitality industry is. I think we were talking earlier. I mean, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. And has the last 2 years been probably the most stressful I've ever had? Hands down it has been. It's been tough. It's been challenging. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's been a walk in the park, but every morning I wake up, whether I have a bad day the day before or not, I wake up energized and ready to go because I love what I do. And playing that down or allowing to see other people grow into that is really special.
That's outstanding. And I think that, when you look at the efforts you're making to make sure that people understand the culture of your property, that your leaders are being hands-on and physically instilling that why in your team, as you put it, what other kind of things are you doing on your property to get, either property to get employees excited about being there? I think you mentioned a couple of things like employee events and things like that. What kind of things are you doing at your site to keep them engaged and excited?
Yeah, I am known for one to like a good party. I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. So as most of us in hospitality do. So we throw some pretty extravagant ones for the employees. I remember the day I got hired as the general manager at the Westin. And the first thing I said to the VP that was hiring me is I said, just so you're aware, we're going to spend more money than we ever have on employees. And he kind of looked at me funny and said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, I believe that if we take care of the employees before we take care of anything else, your financial results will be there and your satisfaction will be there. And that's where I created the culture at the Westin, which is employees come first. So what's super important for me, and when I set out at the beginning of the year, before we talk about marketing endeavors, before we talk about anything else, we plan the employee events. And it doesn't have to be extravagant. Sure, we've had some extravagant holiday parties. We've had some great summer concert series with rooftop concerts where we bring the employees up, close down the venue to guests, and just throw parties for the employees. I mean, there was a time in the pandemic where I had my entire team hula hooping on the rooftop of the Westin at night with a DJ, because that was just what it took. But when you can take that hat off, the seriousness hat off, and have fun and genuinely show, I mean, people are now asking, hey, when's the next one? When's the next one? It's about creating that culture of like, we're here to have fun. Everybody is here to do a job and get a paycheck and have a life. But at the end of the day, you've got to have fun. You have to have fun while you're here. I mean, if you're not having fun, you're in the wrong place. And so we focus a lot on employee events. But to that degree, we do hot dogs in the summer. We do, I did Undercover Boss the week of Christmas, where my entire executive team was working in different avenues. And that was fun for me because I got to put them in places I knew they didn't want to be. But what happened from that? Well, they saw things that they're like, wow, I didn't know they were dealing with that. Now let's go back and figure out how we can make it easier on their lives. And, so we do stuff like that to really keep the employee engaged. But it's more than that to me. To me, it's about the personal connection with the people that are working for the organization. Take all the employee events away. Every single day, I greet every single person in the building. And that's not because I have to, it's because I want to. And I want to know how their weekend was, and I want to know how their family's doing. And that is something that I believe trickles down. When you see that happening in an organization and your expectation of your senior leaders is to do the same, it spreads. And that's a culture that I think people have really found that they want to be a part of. And that's kind of where I hang my hat. So it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. Well, you're obviously building something there. Obviously a great part of Nashville. When you're getting your new team members in and you're showing them what the hospitality industry could be, what kind of advice are you giving those people who are coming up as new leaders?
Well, there's a couple different things that I typically refer to people, but, obviously the common thread is you're always pointing them in a direction of a position. If they're going to be, you first have to understand what they want to do. Is this just a job for them? Are they a musician that are waiting to be signed and this isn't a career path for them? That's fine. We have a job for that, and we're going to train you and we're going to make you the best possible position that you can be. But then you get some people that say, I'm kind of interested in sales. I'm kind of interested in being a GM. I'm kind of interested in this. And we kind of carve out a path. And we talk about what that takes, but what it takes more than just a position is what it takes is finding the passion for what you're doing. One of the biggest challenges I think that I see all the time when I talk to people is they want to hop around. They want to be in this industry, then that one's going to pay me more, and that one's going to pay me more. How it worked for me was sticking with what I know. I have numerous friends that I could look around and say, I'm probably a little bit further in my career than they are because they hopped around about 5 or 6 different times to different things because it was going to give them an extra bump in pay, or it was going to give them that. I stuck to what I knew and what I really enjoyed doing. And over time, I reaped the benefits from that. And over time, I was promoted. So one of the things I always tell people is like, you have to get into a position and really own that position, whether that's a year or 2 years or 6 months or whatever it is. You have to be the best possible person you can be in that position and learn everything you can before you're ready to go on to the next level. And so that is probably one of the bigger challenges you see is people wanting to move rapidly in different roles. And it's about slowing that down to a level that they're comfortable with, but making sure that they're understanding why. They have to develop a passion for that role, that they're more passionate than anybody else. Those are the people that are going to get promoted. The people that are waking up every morning and are driving into work with a desire to do what they love to do, those are the people that are going to get promoted. So helping them find their passion in the industry, we were talking earlier, there's so many different avenues. There's so many different avenues you can go on. It's not all front desk and food and beverage. There's a million avenues. There's sales and there's finance and there's all kinds of stuff. Find what they love doing and what they really enjoy. And sometimes that takes rotating them around the hotel. But then once they get with it, stick with it, and ride it out, and that's the best advice I can give people, because I see too often people, really missing an opportunity because they were so quick to jump on something else and not be patient enough to wait for it.
That's awesome. And I think that that focus and that understanding that, this is an amazing industry. And if you stick with it and you find out why you're here and you lean into it, can be a really great career for you. I think that's absolutely incredible and a great message, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, if people are trying to find you or your properties, where are they going to look?
Sure. Obviously, you can find me on LinkedIn or anywhere else, Jeff Crabiel. And The two properties in Nashville are located about within 1.5 miles of each other. The Westin is located right next to the Music City Center, so very convenient to group business. Bobby Hotel is located in Printers Alley, so it's kind of the art district for Nashville up on 4th Avenue. But please come into either hotel. Ask for me by name. I love meeting people. This is why I do what I do. I love meeting people from all around the world. So if you do happen to come into either one of those hotels, I would love the chance to just say hi and share a handshake with you when you have time.
That's awesome, Jeff. Well, I thank you very much for taking the time being here today. This has been a great conversation. I know a lot of people will get a lot out of it. So again, thank you very much. And we look forward to having you again.
Hey, thank you for your time, Chris. This was amazing. You've been a great host. So thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.